Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun popped on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal while enjoy your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And this morning, we watched Donkey Kong Country.
This was suggested to us by Alexandra Smith. Thank you, Alexandra, for suggesting this one.
Yeah, thank you.
We sure did love the video games.
Yeah, the video games, fantastic. Let me preface with that.
Yeah, those were great.
Because that's going to be the most positive thing you hear this show.
Every time we start getting mad about something, let's just bring up how much we love the games.
Even if it's a different show, we'll just say, you know what was a great game? Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, like we got to keep ourselves a little bit positive, right? So to keep ourselves from spiraling out, we'll just be like, man, that game was great.
Donkey Kong Country was so good.
Except those first few snow levels were like rough.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
When you get into that ice cave, though, in the first one, that music is bliss.
The show Donkey Kong Country aired from 1996 to 2000, developed by Jacques Goldstein, Philippe Percebois, based on Donkey Kong by Nintendo and Donkey Kong Country by Rare, directed by Mike Fallows, produced by Nelvana Limited, Media Lab for Season 1, Hong Guang Animation for Season 2, and Wick Entertainment. This ran for 2 seasons, 40 episodes, and the original networks were Teletoon in Canada, France 2, and Canal Plus in France for Season 1, and Fox Family / Fox Kids in the US. For a short synopsis written by Seanan Reese, Seanan Reese.
Sure.
Donkey Kong and his sidekick Diddy Kong star in a computer-generated rendition of the classic video game.
Oh, computer-generated for sure. Can we discuss real quick, who wins the worst computer-generated animation prize? This or Reboot? Who wins?
No,
because
Reboot is a ton better.
Yeah, I feel like this one is more nightmare-inducing than Reboot.
This is right up there with Bratz.
It's hard to say.
This is up there with Bratz, I think. Well, Bratz is probably better,
Bratz
actually.
was better.
But Bratz was like
Bratz
in the
better.
2000s. This was 96. So this was like still
That's
early
true.
CG when they shouldn't have been doing CG. But they're trying new things. And, kudos for that. But only that.
Yep. No, it's true. It's very true.
Who are some of the actors who played in this show?
So the voice of Donkey Kong was provided by Richard Yearwood. The voice of Diddy Kong was provided by Andrew Sabiston, who was also the voice of Yoshi from the Super Mario World cartoon. Do you remember Yoshi's voice from that one?
Nope.
Yeah, maybe we blocked that out in our minds because I don't remember it either. So if it sounded anything like the voice in this one, I think our minds are protecting themselves. The voice of Cranky Kong was provided by Aaron Tager. The voice of Candy Kong provided by Joy Tanner, which I am not really familiar with her, but I did see that she's very, very popular in live action, especially she was part of, I believe it's Degrassi, The Next Generation or something, which is a huge Canadian like soap opera thing.
Yeah,
I've heard
a lot about Degrassi.
Yeah, so that's a huge deal for, our Canadian friends. So there you go, Joy Tanner. Dixie Kong was voiced by Stevie Valance. Stevie's career is huge. So Stevie's been in Care Bears, Popples, Dino Saucers, Exo Squad, Madeline, Mummy's Alive. And this is the kicker. This is interesting. She was the singing voice for Sonia in Sonic Underground. Why, if she was regularly a voice actor in all of these shows, and why did they just hire her to sing for that character? Why didn't they just hire her to do all of that voice instead of making Jaleel White try to do a female voice? That's so sad.
The world may never know.
No, just like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop. The voice of Funky Kong was provided by Damon D'Oliveira. The voice of Bluster Kong provided by David Berta. The voice of King Karul. Okay, this messed me up, man. This messed me up. I realized I've been a fool my whole life. I've been a fool.
Okay.
I always thought it was King K. Rule because there's like a period.
Yeah, it is.
It's his middle initial.
It is King K. Rule.
But they pronounced it Karul.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it's supposed to like be a play on as, but I'm pretty sure it's King K. Rule is how they're supposed to be saying it, but they wanted to simplify it.
All right, so it's not just me. So so I'm not as much of a fool as this show tried to make me.
I thought you were going to say that you never knew that it meant cruel. Like,
no, I knew that.
Okay, well then you're fine. You're no fool.
Oh, thank God. All right, the voice was Benedict Campbell, who was known for doing animations such as Redwall and Highlander, the animated series. I didn't know there was an animated Highlander. Did you know about that?
I didn't know that either. I don't know how they would do that.
Yeah, they're hiding that from us.
Okay.
We'll check that out. The voice of General Clump was provided by Adrian Truss, who is the voice of Jerry from Totally Spies, which is a great character and a fantastic show. I do love Totally Spies, and I will go to my grave with that written on my tombstone. Totally Spies was cool. That's what it'll say. And finally, the voice of Crusho was provided by Lynn Carlson, also who has a really awesome career in voice acting. Voiced the Green Goblin from the 1960s Spider-Man animated series. The voice of Ganon from the Legend of Zelda cartoon.
Nice.
Voice of Swamp Thing from the Swamp Thing cartoon. The voice of Senator Kelly from X-Men the animated series. So lots of those old 80s, 90s cartoons that you and I grew up with, but also lots of stuff from back before our time. So huge legend in the voice acting community there. So that is the main cast. Another just interesting tidbit is that 5 out of these several cast members all credited as having a role in that cartoon we watched several years ago called Monster Force.
Oh yeah.
But none of them actually credited with their role, just as additional voices in Monster Force.
Monster Force was kind of a mystery of a show.
It was weird, but I enjoyed the time that we spent in it. Like, it was interesting.
Yeah.
For what it was. I mean, it didn't make a lot of sense, but it was interesting.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I don't think they should have tried to hide it as much as they seemed to be, but
they didn't want us to see it.
We have the DVD of it now, so hey.
Yeah. It would make a really cool comic book.
Oh yeah.
I'd be really interested.
That'd be a cool reboot. Let's work on that.
Would.
Let's do it.
That's why I said it. Let's do it.
That's why I said
man.
It. So here's a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Donkey Kong Country cereal. So Candy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Funky Kong are the only characters that look entirely different from their video game appearances. I showed you what Candy Kong looks like in the video games earlier.
Yep.
Vastly different. Because in this one, she's more of a... Gosh, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say, like, I was wanting to call her Karen Kong, but that haircut was really not doing it for me.
No, that's pretty accurate, though. She does look a lot more like a Karen Kong. if we're gonna call it something, it's more of a Karen Kong. Yeah.
Dixie Kong, I think all she really did was change her shirt because, I mean, she looked pretty much the same, but she had the little pink hat, but her shirt had a flower on it in the show for some reason instead of just the pink shirt she usually wears. And Funky Kong, he had a pretty big change because he just became a nudist. Because in the games, he has blue jean shorts and a tank top. And here, they changed his fur color and just decided, you know what, just make him naked.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about it is just like, what's the point? At some point, there is no point in putting clothes on these monkeys.
Especially since Donkey Kong, your star character, only wears a tie.
He's just wearing a tie. I mean, both Diddy and Dixie they're Winnie the Pooh in it. They're only wearing shirts and hats.
Yeah.
So they're not rocking any bottoms. Candy's fully clothed. I mean, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense anymore. So why not just have one just completely in the buff?
King K. Rool is also nude, completely nude.
Yeah.
I mean, Scales.
You got the one guy that the only clothing he has is on his feet, and that's it. He's just got those little, I covers over his feet.
You've got
They're not even shoes.
you've got
They're just little white
Eddie
covers.
Eddie the Yeti, who just has a little hat on. That's it.
The hat.
Yeah.
Eddie the Yeti. Oh boy, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in Japan, the TV series was very popular and proven to be successful since the video games that the series is based on were also a hit. The Japanese dub version of the series was produced with a very high budget and also had some well-known Japanese voice actors on it. So I think that was probably part of what helped push it. The US kind of got it, not last, like Japan got it after the US, but France had it first, then Canada, then it came to the US. So I think like because of maybe some of the strange timings that it seems like the voices have is because it was originally done in France.
There is such an interesting, and I know a lot of it's like Nelvana and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so strange to me because before doing this show, I never would have known that so many cartoons start in France and hit France before it hits anywhere else. Like a lot of it really is there. And that just is such a strange notion to me that I would never have known if we hadn't started doing this podcast.
Yeah, that and Canada. So many came from Canada.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Canada, France, it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much.
You know?
This show had a large line of merchandise in Japan as well, including a manga, collectible card game featuring drawings of the characters, some of which never appeared in the series. But the card game was later adapted to be based on Donkey Kong 64 instead of the show after it ended. So in Japan, this show was huge. I don't think it was like very big here at all.
No, definitely not. But a card game and a manga would be cool. Like I'd be interested in finding the manga. I'd hunt that down and read it.
Yeah,
I love the Zelda, the Legend of Zelda mangas that the US never really got.
Oh yeah,
those are great.
Those too. Yeah, a lot of the manga like renditions of these are just far superior, and probably in this case too, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure. I would love to read that.
This one I think you'll like. Pirate Scorn, a song from the cartoon, was covered by Scottish heavy metal band Alastorm in their Curse of the Crystal Coconut album. Additionally, the album cover contains several nods to the Donkey Kong video game franchise. So yeah, one of these songs, not one that we heard, I don't think, but one of the songs got covered by a Scottish heavy metal band.
That's crazy. All right then.
And I love that their album was called Curse of the Crystal Coconut.
I mean,
cool nod.
Yeah, what a deep cut. I guess they were fans, huh?
And it would have had to been, well, okay, so Crystal Coconut it started in this show. Obviously, it wasn't part of the plot of the original Donkey Kong Country.
No, definitely not.
But it was continued on in some of the other games. Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong King of Swing, Donkey Kong Barrel Blast. Yeah, it was continued on in those games, but it started here in this show.
I never played a Donkey Kong Country game after Donkey Kong Country 3. And I feel like that's a shame because I do own Donkey Kong 64 because I started collecting a lot of N64 games several years ago, and I have tons of them, and that is one of them, but I have not played it. So I need to do that one of these days.
I wonder if that's one that holds up, Donkey Kong 64. I've never played that one.
Tropical Freeze is another one I've always been interested in. I mean, I want to, one day I'd love to go through and just play the entire series all the way through. I think that'd be great. I mean, DK2, oh man, that's a masterpiece of a game.
I feel like I've only played up to DK2 also. Donkey Kong Country
good.
2, not even 3.
3, I've only played part of it.
Okay.
I just didn't like the baby. I didn't like the gameplay of that character.
Here's something you may have already known, but I had forgotten. So Cranky Kong, he was the original Donkey Kong from the arcades.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally forgot that.
You're right. And then Donkey Kong Jr., though, is not
this
the
Donkey
Kong.
No.
That's his dad, who we never see.
Right. Who knows? Like,
it's weird.
They don't ever mention it in this show. I just wanted to mention it because, like, I had seen it somewhere and I was like, oh, yeah, I totally forgot. Cranky Kong is the DK.
It's supposed to be original.
The princess stealing DK throwing barrels down at Mario.
What a weird, like, lore that they just haphazardly developed for these series of games that you've got, like, the original Donkey Kong becomes Cranky Kong. Donkey Kong Jr., I guess, becomes a deadbeat dad and leaves. And then we get the Donkey Kong that we know and love, who stars in Donkey Kong Country and Smash Brothers and all that stuff, who is like the third generation of Kongs that we know of.
So does that make Mario like ageless? Because Was Mario
Yeah,
the one who was
or-
in the original, supposedly the one who was in the original Donkey Kong game? It was supposed to be
Well,
Mario, right?
That's oh man, you're opening up such a big can of worms.
Well, let's
That's
close that can of worms. I
Jumpman.
don't want to get too far into it
That's
because it
Jumpman.
doesn't matter. That's who? Jumpman?
Yeah.
All right.
That's Jumpman.
All right, Jumpman.
And
then.
there's a lot of debate whether Jumpman is really truly Mario or not. There's a lot of debate.
I would say it can't be then.
People will go to war over this. The nation is divided enough, Joseph. We don't need to.
No,
we don't.
I don't want to.
We don't need to
further.
start this. We don't need to do it.
Okay, so had you ever heard of this show before? Probably, but had you ever seen it before?
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing it on television because I mean, this was what 96.
Yeah. Well,
this was around
it came
the
into the
time
U.S.
of
in '97, I think.
Okay, so this is around the time that I'd be, catching things like Beast Wars and stuff like that on television.
The only CG
So-
monkey that matters, by the way.
The only one that matters, Optimus Primal. Yeah, the only one that was ever done any kind of justice. So, I mean, yeah, I'd seen it, but I would kind of flip the channel because I didn't want to invite any abominations into my nightmares as a child. So,
I don't even know if I knew about it. Like this one completely like passed me by. I'm not surprised that it was a show, but I was surprised at the quality of it or lack of, I guess. And was it just me or did the intro kind of give you an Arthur feel to it at first? Like they were going for Arthur, but then trying to be more fun with it?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think the music kind of hinted at that as well.
I guess
like
the way it starts, not like throughout,
Yes.
but just the way it starts, I was getting an Arthur vibe from it. And then it went just completely different direction, talking about Banana Slamma.
Yeah, I never want to. There's certain phrases they use that I never want to really hear again. And there's like, it wouldn't have. I don't think it would have bugged me, but just because of some of the stuff that you found that fans of the show have said after the fact, that now anytime someone in the show mentions Candy's coconut cream pies, I'm like, no. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
now it just makes me upset.
Yeah,
So-
there was some troublesome things. Some accidentally, I hope, but some were like, okay, was this not reviewed by anyone first before that got aired? Anyway,
Some writers snuck in some jokes for mom and dad, I think.
sounds like it.
Before we move on, if you aren't already subscribed to our show, please make sure that you do that now on whatever platform you are listening to. And it would mean a ton to us if you could share this show, share this episode or your favorite episode of ours with a friend so we can grow a little bit. And while you're at it, don't forget to check out the other great shows from nerdsloth.com, many of which feature Joseph and myself, like Night Marathon, where we sit through scary movies, or Party in Peril, where we play Dungeons and Dragons. And if you do like spooky things, there's also a podcast called A Little Spooky on nerdsloth.com, hosted by our friends Everett and Colleen, that covers all things creepy, cryptid, and conspiracy. They recently talked about a reoccurring nightmare of mine a few episodes back that's super freaky, so don't miss out on that one. I think that would be their episode on doppelgangers towards the end of that episode. So if you want to hear about that, go check that out. It's a really fun podcast, one of my favorites right now to listen to.
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. Too much stuff.
So go check them out.
So let's go ahead and jump into the episodes we got for today's show. The very first episode, a highest rated episode, and finally a random listener chosen episode. The order may vary depending on how these episodes fall chronologically, but of course we have to start with the very first episode, which was, and this is debatable, by the way. I'm not sure if this was the very first episode. It was on Wikipedia and IMDb, but then I'm seeing other sources elsewhere that say differently. But for our purposes, we watched I Spy with My Hairy Eye, which troublesome from the start. Season 1, episode 1, where Diddy convinces DK to have some fun with the crystal coconut, asking it for favors. The end result is that Diddy accidentally wishes to be invisible. It's all fun and gags until General Clump and Crusher steal the crystal coconut. Well, that's not exactly what happened. Meanwhile, K. Rool has locked himself in his vault and can't get out. To make matters worse, the stolen coconut falls into the hands of Candy Clone, who is off to the White Mountains where Eddie the mean old Yeti lives. The chase is on. Oh man.
My God. Well, I guess sort of in a nutshell, but that felt real like I don't know. That description was all over the place, I think. But
So was the show, man. So much got tied into this one episode. Eyes can't be hairy.
no, they can't. Like, unless you're a wolf boy from the circus.
But your eye,
you can't have hairy eyes.
But your eye isn't hairy.
I guess your eyelids can be hairy, but your eye can't. That's a good point. Is there such a no, I was just thinking, like, is there any such thing as a hairy eye? But
I hope
just
not.
don't think that can exist.
That seems painful and disruptive of vision.
That would pain. Yeah, dude, can you, like, every time you get an eyelash in your eye, it feels like you're being stabbed with needles.
Yes, that's the worst thing ever.
Eye.
Imagine having more than one hair growing out of your eye. I don't want to. I don't want to think about it.
That makes me want to throw up right now. We're going to tackle how we do these episodes a little bit differently. So we're kind of giving the overall plot like we just kind of did. We'll try to, that one was very confusing. We'll try to elaborate a little bit more there, but for the most part, we're just going to talk about the things that we liked and we did not like about these episodes. So we can base it more on our opinions and stuff and not just be giving the play-by-plays.
Yeah, because we don't need to do that. Like,
yeah, you could just watch the episode. That's kind of the point.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. So
the crystal coconut thing, I mean, I don't even know where that came from, and it's magical.
Yeah,
whatever.
So the crystal coconut is something that Donkey Kong finds hidden on this Congo Bongo Island is what it's called. And apparently it kind of grants wishes, but also allows you to have an astral form, but also like is a crystal ball that tells the future. And in it, they see Donkey Kong's face, meaning he's supposed to be the rightful ruler of Congo Bongo Island. And that's about the gist of it. But for whatever reason, it grants wishes randomly, I guess. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just say,
weird.
I wish King K. Rool off this island?
Yeah, I wish he was gone.
Yeah.
I wish he was just an actual lizard instead of a giant, I don't know, dictator-ish crocodile
or
man.
at least a productive member of society.
There we go. Yeah, I feel some flaws. Well, for whatever reason, it's there. They're messing around. Diddy is goofing off, wishes to be invisible. He's invisible. Stuff like antics ensue because Diddy is that goofball archetype that doesn't know when to stop. Like he's the pipsqueaky. That's not a word. Pipsqueaky character that is always causing some sort of trouble in a way. Like he's really rambunctious and he doesn't know when to quit, and he keeps getting Donkey Kong in trouble while he's invisible, and then
so he's invisible and
gets stolen,
and then has like an existential crisis because he's afraid he's going to be invisible forever, which is kind of funny after a while. Once you find out his character sucks, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
that's karma.
King K. Rool made a clone of Candy, who he sends to go steal the crystal coconut. That works, but and I didn't really understand how it happened. Something went wrong at one point when he and his underlings actually they get locked in the vault that he's got. But I don't remember why she starts going to the mountains instead.
She goes to the mountains because King K. Rool says something like to march somewhere or something of the sort, and then she like takes it very literally, and as she's trying to like yell out to her, then he gets locked in the vault.
So it's not me just completely missing it. It's that it was a really stupid thing.
It was just a misunderstanding on her part.
Okay.
And yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And then Donkey Kong, Diddy, they get Funky to help them get out there, retrieve the crystal coconut. Things get resolved. All is well. But okay, so what are some of the things that you did like about this episode? Or do you want to start with the things you didn't like? Or do we want to do a sandwich, a compliment sandwich? What do you want to do?
I'll start with likes. So what I did like, I like the crystal coconut as a concept. I think it's an interesting centerpiece for the show. I wish that its powers were more regulated and that it had, I guess, more well defined in what it could and couldn't do. and or that there were consequences for the wishes. Like it was kind of like a monkey's paw kind of thing, that you had to be really careful what you wished for because, whatever the case. That's not
making
what it
it a
was.
monkey's paw would have been great because that would have made so much sense with the context of the show.
Exactly. But so instead, it was just like a Deus Ex Machina that was there to solve all problems and do exactly what it needed to do when it needed to do it. But generally speaking, cool idea, bad execution. I like that Diddy Kong. I like that point where Diddy Kong was acting as Funky Kong's inner voice. I think really I just liked Funky Kong's like reaction to hearing invisible Diddy Kong. I thought that was pretty funny. And also the fact that they kept saying banana cream pie because it's one of my favorite desserts. That's really all I can give this episode.
I do love me some banana cream pie. That stuff's delicious.
So good.
Yeah. I also really liked Funky Kong. I liked his character a lot. His voice was great. And I enjoyed how he's super weird because he's kind of that Jamaican surfer stoner kind of character. Mm-hmm. And how when he does start hearing Diddy talk when he's invisible, he does think he's just hearing like voices and spirits and stuff. And that he gets to that point where he won't do anything until the spirit guides him and stuff. And I think that was great. Yeah. That was a very enjoyable part. And Funky Kong, even as a kid, even though you'd never played him, he was one of my favorite characters in the game. Just because of the aesthetic and because of the music on his stage in the original game, I just always gravitated towards Funky Kong. So I like that they made him a fun character in the cartoon. I also really enjoyed the Kremlings. Like all the bad guys here were to me, I felt were pretty enjoyable. King K. Rool was exactly the over the top goofball type of villain you'd expect. The underlings were dumb as rocks, but they had some pretty good one-liners throughout this episode. And I know all of that fits an archetype, a really big stereotype for these kind of shows, just like Sonic the Hedgehog, but they did it way better than the last several Sonic cartoons we've watched. And it was welcome here because it was like, oh, okay, you immediately saw what they were doing with these villains and you could immediately know what to expect based on how they were acting. And they did it in a way that was just like, oh, okay, you did it and didn't disappoint me with it. Cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah. That was a surprise.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I didn't expect to like, but I kind of did, was the Yeti named Eddie. And just because he just cracked me up because he was the whole scene was so stupid. And like, especially his song. And we're going to get into that in a minute because there's a lot of singing in this show and it's pretty much all terrible. But yeah, it's I think the terribleness of the scene with him that endeared him to me and made me laugh, because literally this character is just a 100% color swap model of Donkey Kong. It is just Donkey Kong without the tie, swapped to be a white color, and then they added a little blue hat on his head, and he just talks like a Neanderthal, and he's like, me like snow, me like ice, me like you so nice, and he's just a friggin' idiot.
Yeah.
But it was just so stupid. It made me laugh when he first came out because I was like, oh my God, it's so bad.
I did not like Eddie, the mean old Yeti. He sounded like he was really annoying and sounded like a bad Homer Simpson impression. This is just a pointless character. And I didn't like his just placement in the show, period. Like maybe if he had an episode dedicated to him where I could have gotten to know his character better, but instead of just, he just gets thrown in here like a weird wrench in an already faulty machine.
Did you happen to see if he pops up in any other episodes? I did not. I'm just curious.
I'm sure he does. This island is not very big, so I'm sure
because they did
he's
name
in
drop him
episodes.
again, I think in the next episode or another one. they mention him again or something.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure he's around.
okay.
Donkey Kong's voice, I didn't care for. I don't feel like they chose well for his voice. I think it needed to be deeper, I guess, because anytime you hear Donkey Kong's like noises he makes in the games, it's always got kind of a bassiness to it. And in here, there's just no bass. It just sounds like a teenager. And that's not like, I don't know. It just didn't work for his character for me. Also, the fact that they snuck 2 songs into every single episode.
Oh, boy.
At first, I thought they were just going to be the one, and I was like, all right, this is bad, but maybe it'll just be this one episode, one song. But instead, 2 songs in every single episode, 80 songs. Insane.
Yeah, and this is what I'm going to give one caveat. At least the guy that voices Donkey Kong can sing.
He is a great singer, yes.
At least he has talent. But Diddy cannot. Oh, boy, it is so bad. It is nails on a chalkboard bad. Okay, for those of you that are either a fan of cartoons and have gone back and watched it, or those of you that are Joseph and I's age and remember it, do you remember Toad from the old Mario cartoons, that gravelly, screechy high voice? Imagine that trying to sing falsetto, because that's what it feels like. It is like a cat having its vocal cords ripped out of its throat is what it feels like. It's bad. And to accompany that too, the music in the show doesn't make any sense, because when you think of Donkey Kong, just think about this real quick. The music of the video games are fantastic. It is some of the greatest soundtracks, some of the greatest original soundtracks in gaming history, especially those first few games. It is fantastic. The jungle music that they use in so many of them. I mentioned the Ice Cave music like way earlier in the episode. It's so good. This is like, they use like disco music. They use like R&B ballad music. And it's, oh God, it's so bad.
Okay.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so the last thing I just want to point out, and this is almost like an overall thing, is just the Donkey Kong, especially his facial expressions, are constantly animating when he speaks in ways that don't make any sense, and they are very nightmare-inducing. In fact, a lot of the characters are just constantly over-emoting, where it's like their eyes are constantly moving around, and their heads are constantly bobbing around and tilting while they're talking, and it doesn't fit what they're doing. And like, who does that?
And their eyes are dilating constantly. Like whenever they raise their eyebrow, like their pupils will get bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller. Ugh.
Yeah.
Weird.
All the time. So overall, I would say this first episode, it wasn't good. This was not a good entry to this show at all. It did not win me over.
Almost like hair growing out of your eye.
No, this episode was me trying to get a hair out of my eye.
So the second episode we watched for today's show was Kong for a Day, season 1, episode 7, which is the highest rated. When King K. Rool and his cronies conspire to make Donkey Kong look bad to his friends, it works even better than they expected. Cranky banishes Donkey Kong to the White Mountains, and the Crystal Coconut reveals Diddy as the new future ruler of Congo Bongo. However, everyone soon realizes that Donkey Kong's shoes are a lot harder to fill. He doesn't wear shoes. When King K. Rool plans his biggest attack yet on the unsuspecting apes.
Well, yeah.
That wraps it up pretty well.
That's pretty good. That was actually a pretty good sum up. Yeah. I do love the idea that King K. Rool's plan to take over is so childlike, which is just to get everybody mad at Donkey Kong, and that it works.
It works so surprisingly well.
Yeah, I like
like how everybody, like anytime anyone saw a banana peel, all he has to do is plant banana peels everywhere at King K. Rool, because everyone just suspects Donkey Kong. Apparently Donkey Kong is a litterer because he just throws his banana peels anywhere after he's done with them. So all he has to do to make people suspect him is just throw those around, and automatically they assume it's DK's fault.
I mean, is it littering, or is it just returning the elements to the earth?
Yeah, maybe he's helping.
Yeah,
I mean, like compost.
It's composting. It's making the earth more fertile.
So Donkey Kong is environmentally friendly, and no one else appreciates that.
Exactly. But I did like the just the overall idea of King K. Rool's plan there. I enjoyed that a lot. I thought that was funny. And just in how childlike it was and that it actually was working. And I just loved like his reactions to it working is really funny. Like King K. Rool is a great character in this. He was one of the saving graces of the show. He was very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we can jump into your likes right now since you kind of started
that was one of them.
Yeah.
One of the other, just going off of like characters and stuff too, I also enjoy how savage Cranky Kong is because he's just, he really is cranky and he's just so angry, especially when he does think that Donkey Kong messed up his house because he finds like the one banana peel there and just assumes that Donkey Kong wrecked everything, which is like, is Donkey Kong the only person in this entire island that eats bananas? Really? Like, is it just him? I mean, that seems like a flaw.
I guess the others dispose of their banana peels in trash cans. Not that I saw a trash can anywhere in the show.
No, I never saw a trash can. But to be fair, if I was hanging out in a building with a bunch of people and somebody found some chicken bones, like an old buffalo wing, it would be probably pretty accurate if they assumed it was me.
Yeah.
For being real honest.
If someone found a stray gummy bear somewhere and I was anywhere near
know it would be you. If I found a Haribo wrapper,
right.
I'm like, yeah,
People
it was definitely Joseph. Yeah. Yeah, so like when he finally kicked Donkey Kong out and was just like, you're not going to be the new ruler, I did like that instance where he called after him real quick and you get that split second like maybe Cranky's having a small change of heart and Donkey Kong turns around and he just throws that suitcase at his face that's already packed. Yeah. I was like, that was pretty good. I liked that. I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but it was still a good laugh. The only other thing I liked about this episode, which wasn't much, it was something that caught me off guard, is when, well, I didn't expect to see Dixie in this show. I was kind of surprised and I was happy because she was one of my favorite characters in the series, my favorite character to play in the games. But when Diddy had to leave while they were all taking a walk and then Donkey Kong was like, well, I'll just keep walking with my friend Dix. I literally spit my drink out because I'm a child and that caught me off guard and I laughed really hard. And then I had to clean up my desktop. So
yeah,
that sucked.
That seems like an oversight. It was one of my likes too because of how sudden it was and how I was not expecting that at all.
Well, I'm glad that I'm not the only immature one on this podcast. Thank you.
You can't not hear it like that because
it's so funny.
You can semi-expect it because like they keep calling Diddy Kong Dids. And it's like, okay, that's fine. That doesn't mean anything. But then the moment you call Dixie Kong Dix, it's like, come on.
You can't call a little girl monkey Dix. You can't do it.
Also, the Hey Donkey Kong, the spot where Cranky called him about to toss him the suitcase. I laughed at that too. That was one of my likes. That was
okay.
It's you expect it right when he turns around, but it's still, the payoff was great. And I liked that Crusha, the larger of K. Rool's henchmen, was like sowing distrust between DK and Diddy by pretending to be hitting on Dixie. I thought that was kind of a funny scene.
Oh man, that was an interesting scene. That goes into like, I don't know. That sequence felt a little weird to me, which kind of plays into one of the things I didn't like about it. Was like, it felt kind of weird when like, so at this point in this episode, Donkey Kong had already made Candy angry because that was the first person that K. Rool had turned against him. So she broke up with Donkey Kong because they're dating. When he's taking a walk with Diddy and Dixie in the woods and Diddy leaves and he's hanging out with his dicks.
Yep.
They sit on a log, keeping their 6-foot distance. So thank you. They really were. Crusha is hiding in there and he can do a spot on impression of Donkey Kong's voice. And Dixie says something about, don't worry, you'll hook up with someone at some point. I was like, wait, what? We're talking about hooking up with okay. All right. And then in Donkey Kong's voice, it's like, well, maybe it's going to be you. And like, it started getting like, it felt weird, man. I'm like, this is a kid's cartoon, and they're talking about hooking up, and like, I felt dirty watching it. I felt dirty.
I didn't take it like that. I just thought it was a funny scene because of how it was becoming kind of like a not adult, but like a more like mature sort of subject to be.
Well, yeah, it was. It really was getting super mature, which was what threw me off guard. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, like betraying your friend by trying to get with his girlfriend. Like that was just an interesting concept that they threw in this show aimed at kids.
Yeah, that was interesting for sure.
So what are some of your other dislikes?
Of course the songs. The songs were once again terrible.
Yeah.
We got an R&B ballad from Donkey Kong, which wasn't as bad, I guess, but it's still, again, it doesn't fit the show. It just doesn't. But when you compare it to the song we get that Diddy sings, that thing is pure gold. But we get Diddy's song, which is the best I can describe it. It's circus music with, I don't know, with the voice of a sick cat. It's terrible. Thing that I didn't enjoy about this is like again, it has to do with the problems that are presented with the idea of this crystal coconut and the powers it has. It's just like you find out that Cranky can use it to spy on King K. Rool at any time, and that's how he finds out that he's been sabotaging Donkey Kong. And I'm like, why does he not just do that all the time? Like, why didn't he just do that from the get-go? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's a huge plot hole.
I didn't like the songs either. It was like I'm Nobody's Hero, and the other one was like Second Banana. They really made Diddy feel like he was a sidekick. In fact, I think that was something that Donkey Kong told him when he's like, well, you'll be my sidekick forever kind of thing. And he wasn't trying to fight out of that. Like, even when he thought he was going to be like ruling the Congo Bongo, like he just, I don't know, they were just really made him feel like a secondary character, and they didn't really help him push out of that. Like, that's just what he stayed as. And how do they not foresee K. Rool taking advantage in Donkey Kong's absence? Because Diddy Kong, as we saw, was useless without Donkey Kong, and no one else could defend themselves. So it's like, if Donkey Kong was their only protection and they like shun him from the place altogether, it's like, of course, K. Rool's going to come take over. Like, why didn't you foresee this?
What would happen, you dummies?
Yeah, so it was like, the episode was better than the first episode, I'll say that, because it had more of a through line to it, and I liked some of the parts a lot more than I did the first episode, but overall the plot just seemed really strange. If they were all like friends with Donkey Kong, they sure shunned him pretty quickly.
Yeah. I would say I don't think it was overall, I don't think it was a very good episode, but it was fun. There was a lot of fun to be had in it, but if we're analyzing like the writing and the plot and everything, it wasn't I don't think it was executed very well. But there was fun to be had.
But apparently that was the highest rated one, so
I don't know why.
The last one we watched for today's show was Baby Kong Blues, season 1, episode 22, maybe? And that was my pick because I saw a picture of Baby Kong, and it was so horrendous that we had to cover it on this episode, much like the baby Sonic from the last one.
This is the second time one of us has picked a random episode based on seeing an image of an ugly baby in the show, and we're like, we got to do it.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was the same concept, too. I thought that they had cloned it until I actually went into it. So when Donkey Kong and Diddy comment on how easy taking care of baby Kong looks, Candy and Dixie decide to put them to the test to teach them a lesson about what a responsibility babysitting can be. Left alone with the baby, our heroes find out just how wrong they were when Baby Kong falls into the hands of none other than King K. Rool. And to everyone's surprise, King K. Rool is thrilled to have the little heir to his throne of evil. Donkey Kong and Diddy have to come up with a solution fast, not only to save face with the girls, but to save Baby Kong from a horrible future with K. Rool for a father.
Yeah.
There were some things that I really did like about this episode, and I'll get there in a second. But overall, I think that it pretty much covers the plot of it, at least generally.
Yeah, I just want to point out that, to be honest, this was my favorite episode out of the 3. And aside from the baby Kong being the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed almost everything about it.
Yeah.
Almost.
I'll go far enough to say that I even enjoyed one of the songs in this one, which is...
Yes.
Yeah.
Same here.
Okay.
I know it's got to be the same one, but yeah, I did too.
So yeah, jumping into my likes, I guess just in general, I enjoyed the fact that they were that Candy and Dixie were like, well, we don't have time for fun. Like they were just like saying basically it sucks to have a baby and taking care of one. And I like that they didn't even try to like sell it as like, oh no, it's very enriching and whatever. They're just like, nope, we don't have time for fun anymore. We're babysitting. I thought that was pretty funny. The idea of K. Rool wanting an heir to carry his legacy, I thought was interesting, especially because he had an opportunity to get the crystal coconut in this very episode. Maybe he just doesn't know what it does, or maybe he can't use it for like the others can, because he just straight gives it up to have this ugly baby, which is like a like and a dislike, I guess, combined.
No, I think his biological clock was ticking. I think he wanted to, like, maybe he can't lay his own eggs. Like, maybe he's...
maybe.
You know? We didn't see any...
Well, and there's no
female bad guys.
Right.
And so I think that's what's going on, is I just think that he had that inkling all of a sudden. He's just like, dang, my legacy's going to be nothing when I'm gone. So I need to spit out a baby, and I can't. So I'm going to take this one.
Where Donkey Kong doesn't understand negotiating... I thought that was pretty funny, where K. Rool's like, let's negotiate. And he's like, no way. And then Diddy has to like tell him like, no, negotiating is a good thing. You want this.
It's like that means coming to an agreement. And he's like, oh, okay.
And yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. That's pretty good.
So the K. Rool song that we were talking about is the one that I really liked, where it has the switching in tones. And it's like kind of like talking about, you're my prince, my little evil one. But then he goes into like a really dark mode where he's just like, my villainy will be passed on for generations and you will rule the universe with an iron claw. And then it like jumps right back into the nice soft like singing. I thought that was a really good song, or really well transitioned.
Yeah, he has to like interrupt himself because he starts going so dark, and he's like trying to keep himself from ruining his own moment, and then starts singing again. And you've got like the angelic looking Kremlings with wings dancing around in the background as he's twirling, and then
when he goes into the evil mode, it like the screen turns red and stuff, and it starts to get really dark.
It's like the only time where one of the songs they did felt like it actually transitioned into like the show actually transitioned into that scene appropriately, where like it felt natural.
Yeah, and where it actually improved the scene.
Yeah, it was actually really funny, improved the comedy of that scene, and it's the only time it felt like it really did fit.
So what are some of your likes?
I just loved the idea that King K. Rool loved the baby because it was so destructive, and I think that's hilarious. This baby was just tearing everything up in his base, beating up all of his guys. And K. Rool is loving every bit of it. He just loves the chaos and the destruction of it. He's laughing. He's renamed the baby Prince Junior Croc, and just loves this thing to death. It's so funny. I just love the idea of that. And again, I loved that song that he did. I mean, King K. Rool as a character was fantastic. They did him so well. The only other thing that I can say that really stood out to me as something I liked was another one-liner from Donkey Kong. I think this was in the same scene, or at least around the same scene, where he said nobody wins when a baby's involved, and that made me laugh because then he tries to rephrase it like 5 or 6 different times, and he just basically keeps coming around to the same thing, basically saying that babies suck.
Yeah, I think that was a heavy theme in this episode, like an underlying
that no one likes babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
For my dislikes, that jumps into that well, because Baby Kong was just hideous. We talked about it earlier,
so
but that's one of my
gross.
big dislikes.
That's one
just
of the worst designs I've ever seen in my entire life. Of anything.
horrible.
Yeah.
K. Rool giving up his omnipowered crystal coconut for that ugly baby. I said I liked that he wanted that heir to his throne, but I didn't like that he gave it up for this ugly baby. And then the other song sucked, which was "Watch Out for Baby Kong" or whatever. And so it's like, there was good and bad, hot and cold here as far as the songs are concerned.
Yeah, I also, I mean, a lot of my dislikes were the same. I didn't really care as much about the crystal coconut, but I mean, I hated how the design of Baby Kong looked. I did hate that other song as well. Again, it was another one that didn't fit. It was bad. The other thing I really disliked about this one was that because Donkey Kong and Diddy, they face no consequences for being really bad at taking care of this child. Like they didn't. They faced no consequences at all. They basically got away with it. So I was just kind of like, man, I don't know.
Not only did they get away with it, but they were praised for it. They just kind of owned up to that. Well, until the end when they were like, when Candy and Dixie were like, well, maybe you can babysit more often. And then Donkey Kong fessed up to everything that just happened, but they didn't believe him.
But they didn't believe him. They thought he was just making up a story so he wouldn't have to babysit a second time.
Right.
So essentially he gets off scot-free. They're just annoyed with him because they think he's lying to get out of doing it again. So I'm like, man. Yeah. The big question I have about this episode is whose baby is this?
Yeah. I read somewhere that I think it was a clone. Originally, it was supposed to be a clone of Donkey Kong, or Donkey Kong got turned into a baby or something, but then he got turned back. But I don't know how this baby ended up there, and I don't know if there was ever any like real consensus on how it appeared again, or whose baby it is, or I don't know. I have no idea who its parents are. There's no one else on this island.
Well, and for that matter, why? Everyone's last name is Kong, but they're all like dating. What is happening?
I don't think any of them are related. I think it's just like a name like saying Joseph Human or Chris Human. I think it's just their species.
That's weird.
It is weird.
All right.
I don't know.
I don't like that.
But like you were saying earlier, this was my favorite episode out of the 3 for sure. I think the song really carried a lot of weight for me because it actually kind of perked me up and made me pay attention to a show that was kind of losing me.
Yeah.
And in general, I think it was just a fun episode, even if there were some troublesome parts to it and no repercussions, like you said, was a little, I mean, you probably shouldn't have just gotten away with it. It doesn't really teach a lesson, but I also appreciated the underlying message of babies suck.
Yeah. I think that this was a good episode overall. I think it was the writing of this episode was actually, whereas the other two were bad to very mediocre, I think the overall writing of this one was pretty excellent. And that is very surprising based on everything we had seen so far. So aside from the few flaws that you kind of spoke to, it was fun. This was a really fun one.
Definitely. And it came later in the first season, so maybe they got better after that? I don't know.
Who knows? It's a mystery.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to Congo Bongo Jungle to help DK become the rightful ruler, or take the crystal coconut for themselves and obtain whatever their wicked little hearts desire, then see what they thought of the show Donkey Kong Country.
This cartoon was confusing. I want to like it because it's Donkey Kong and the games are the best. But it looks so bad. And Diddy Kong makes me want to shove bananas in my ears and make myself lose my hearing forever. So I gave this cartoon 2 bowls of coconut cream cereal out of 5.
Just from looking at this show, you can kind of tell how it's going to end up. The animation was an attempt to convert the successful pre-rendered 2D converted 3D models of the well-loved Donkey Kong Country series into an actual show, and needless to say, the results were not great. Stacked on top of that, the odd voice choices and syncing issues, the thin plot lines, and a cast of generally annoying characters, and you're left with a smelly pile of banana peels. Overall, I'd give Donkey Kong Country 2 big bowls of Banana Slamma cereal out of 5, and would definitely use my crystal coconut wish to make this show disappear.
It's so strange to me how this show could have like one extreme and the other, where they have like this last episode that we talked about that I felt was really strong, and then they have like that first episode that was just so bad. And I don't know, it's almost like if you forget about some of those pointless songs that they break into, it can actually be kind of a fun show, but then again, the animation is painful. So I don't know.
I do think it can work, as we saw in that last episode, but they might have just gotten lucky based on everything else we saw. Like it just, the stars aligned, because the rest of it was just starkly different and not in a great way.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get over the animation. It's not helped by like I said before, the constant over emoting and gesturing of the characters. It reminds me of when you see a show or a movie of characters where it's like somebody in full costume. So like think about, what was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Next Mutation?
Yeah.
How they're constantly bobbing their heads around and making like a lot of gestures to make up for the lack of facial detail expression. But here they can animate that detail, but you still have that same constant movement anyway of their head and everything. Like almost like they didn't think they would be able to do that. So it looks like they're possessed puppets with facial elements that have a mind of their own. And it's just gross to watch. Just everything is constantly moving and twitching, and it doesn't stop. And it's just weird.
Yeah, I think something that they could have really practiced was subtlety in their movements, and maybe utilize the voices more to tell those stories, or to enhance those actions. But instead, yeah, they were just like bobbing all around pointlessly, even if it was like a pretty calm sentence they were saying. That was a huge misstep. And otherwise, like I was saying, the plot lines are just pretty thin all around. And I think that while I like the Crystal Coconut conceptually, the fact that it was all that King K. Rool was after, and he got it a couple times and still wasn't able to take advantage of it, kind of bothered me. It was a weird adversarial relationship that they had, because there was that one episode that we had watched that had the basically the Friends Day or Love Day or something, where they had to form a pact and not fight each other.
Yeah, they had like it was like a reprieve from their battle.
But there didn't seem to be any sort of anything stopping from K. Rool from just walking up to Cranky's place anyway. Like I don't know. It was like they're at war, but they're not. It was a strange dynamic.
Yeah, and the Crystal Coconut itself is just so flawed, because it's like the powers that this thing has is so vague. It seems like it can pretty much do everything, yet they hardly ever use it for anything that makes sense. It's almost like, depending on the story that they want for that episode, it just works for whatever they need it for. And I don't know. I think overall they didn't have much of a plan with it, other than it's just going to be a magical artifact that is going to be the source of contention, and that they didn't think beyond it before they started writing episodes. So I think that was the big problem.
It could have at least had limitations like the Dragon Balls, where it's like after you make a wish, then it just turns to stone for a year or something.
Yeah. And then
so
you got to
be really careful about what you wish for. Yeah, anything else, but it had no limitations or really set powers. So it's like that was the problem with it, really. So let's end this by kind of saying who your favorite character was and who your least favorite character was.
Ooh, okay. You mind if I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Favorite character was King K. Rool. I think he was great. I think he was really funny. He was the most enjoyable to watch for me. And I think that he stole the show for the most part. Like every scene he was in, I was just kind of like, oh, thank God it's more of him and not any of the Kongs. So with that said, the worst was Diddy. I hated that character. I think he was the absolute worst. One of the worst characters I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I'll start with my dislike because it matches up with yours. Diddy Kong was the worst. If the baby had been in more episodes, maybe he would have taken the cake, but Diddy Kong being so present and so annoying all the time really made him take that cake. And then my favorite was actually kind of along the same lines as yours. It was Crusha, who was the like large thug on King K. Rool's team. I just really enjoyed the scenes he was in, and I like those characters. There's like kind of big, strong characters with sort of hearts of gold, I guess. And that's kind of what he felt like to me. Like he was a nice guy. He was just kind of stuck into the wrong crowd. And so he's just doing things because his boss is saying so, not because he's a bad dude. And that's kind of the feeling I got from him. And I liked the scenes he was in. With that, I liked General Clump as well. I think he was we didn't really talk about him, but that character was very fun as well. Just the three of them together was a lot of fun to watch. Their dynamic was spot on. Absolutely. Like they were the highlights of this show easily. They really were. Well, with that said, we have a 5-star review on iTunes. Well, I guess it's not iTunes anymore. It's now Apple Podcasts. So if you have not yet rated us on Apple Podcasts, please go over and do that and give us an honest rating. Anything like that will definitely help us help spread the word so other people can see that this is a show worth listening to. This 5-star review comes from Lovely That Girl. They say, cool podcast. I really love Troll Hunters, but why don't you make a podcast for all Tale of Arcadia like 123 Below and Wizard? I am sure I really love it, and my sister want you to make a podcast about Robin Hood too. Thank you for your cool podcast. Okay. Thank you for your cool review. And yeah, thanks. Yeah, you're welcome for the cool podcast. I'm not familiar with 123 Below and Wizard. I'm not sure what those are, but I'll Google those and see what it is. And we can certainly add those. And if she's meaning Robin Hood, like the Disney Robin Hood, oh my God, I'm so in. I love if we're the Disney Robin Hood movie. If we're going to go down that line, then I also want to do Sword in the Stone because I love that movie too. I've never seen it. Oh, never seen it. We have to do it someday. Yeah, but oh man, Disney Robin Hood is fantastic. Why do you think it's like people wonder why there's so many furries from our generation? It's because things like Disney's Robin Hood was created. Those are the sexiest animals. Yes, exactly. Come on, people. Quit asking questions you already know the answer to. Do. God, it's so good. So catchy. Anyway, well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, we'll be watching Challenge of the Super Friends, submitted via Facebook by William. And this one came from the bottom of the list, which surprises me because Challenge of the Super Friends is a classic Hanna-Barbera. So interesting. We'll see. I wonder if it's going to play for us like the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends did, where there's some funny scenes that we take out of context. Yeah, I mean, maybe. It's a very, very big possibility. Yeah, I watched a ton of this when I was a kid, so I'm looking forward to stepping into this one. I think this was one of those things that really first introduced me to a lot of the DC heroes as a child, aside from just plain old Batman, the animated series. But this introduced me to a lot of the other ones because it would be, running on old Cartoon Network and stuff like that. Like it was syndicated all the time. So I'm excited to get into this and see what there is. See if it holds up. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they did covers of some of my favorite superheroes back then. I miss Apache Chief. We never get. I mean, maybe there's some flaws with how they done that character, but like I loved that character as a kid. Apache Chief was one of my favorites. I wonder if Sinestro's in this one, like classic Sinestro. Oh, probably like purple. Yeah, Sinestro, like twirly mustache looking Sinestro. Green Lantern is, so I would think maybe. Gotta be. Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.